Hey everyone, before we get to the episode, we just wanted to send our well wishes to J.W. Rinsler, Star Wars author you probably know from the making of books of the original trilogy, prequels, Indiana Jones, Alien, all down the line, including his new book, All Up. His family wanted his readers and everyone to know that JW has been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and he's in a tough fight right now. So we just wanted to extend our well wishes to him. He's been on TRB a couple times. We had a great time with him talking about how George Lucas hated Mara Jade, and he's been so generous and kind and gracious to us and all fans and podcasts and everyone out there, and his contributions are so valuable to Star Wars and Star Wars fans. So all the best to you, JW. We hope you get better, and our hearts are going out to you in this fight, and we hope to have you back on TRB when you're well. Our best goes out to JW Rinsler. Get better. Welcome to the Resistance broadcast, everybody. I'm John. Thanks for joining us today. It's Monday, which means we're tackling the latest in Star Wars news, rumors, everything out there in the internet sphere. Is internet sphere a phrase?
Nope. Not really.
Internet cube.
Internet cube. The interwebs, whatever the kids are calling it these days. But James and Lacey are with me as always. So Mando Fan Show is halfway through our season run, which means The Mandalorian is already halfway done, which is crazy. Before we get into the show here, I just want to let you know, if you're looking for our takes on The Mandalorian's latest episode, go check out the Mando Fan Show from this past Friday. It's now out on all of our audio apps, all podcast apps, as well as on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Star Wars News and Videos. Katrina Dennis joined us, and we tackled the latest chapter in the super duper awesome streaming series for Star Wars called The Mandalorian. What is it? It was chapter 12, I believe. So check that out and then come back and check us out here, because we're going to be talking about everything else going on in Star Wars. So how are you guys doing? We got Thanksgiving week in a wild and crazy year. We have another episode of the Mando Fan Show coming Friday. Yoshi Vu's coming back Friday, so I'm very excited to have Yoshi back.
Yes.
How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, especially now that you reminded me, Yoshi. I got some of his artwork up on the show. Yeah, he was nice of us to send that, and signed it and everything. Yeah, very, very cool. Glad that he's a part of the show. And I've had just a good week because it's my wife's birthday.
Ooh,
and
today?
No, like last Thursday. This is confusing.
Yeah, this is confusing.
So you're still in the birthday week because it hasn't been a week yet.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Rachel.
Yeah, and so I got her a bunch of Disney stuff, including a Mickey waffle maker.
Oh, cute.
Like the
is it the mini one or the big one?
That's like the big one, I assume. I couldn't find anything that was more official than this one, and it like flips and stuff.
That's the good one. If it flips until it beeps.
That's the good one. Yep. I was like, finally, I'm going to be able to make like hotel waffles. Because those are always the best.
Yeah.
I got my pizza shirt on. I brought it back. It's been a while.
Oh, the pizza shirt?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
That is a pizza shirt.
If 2020 was summed up in a shirt, it would be the Millennium Falcon.
I forgot about that shirt. Yeah, that was a fun little bit we had. Let me get back to my notes here. Before we get going, if you guys haven't noticed yet, we have a coffee brand flavor blend going on with weirdbrothers.com. So they're a local business out of Virginia. So we figured small content creators, small coffee shop, let's get together and try to do something good in 2020 together. And we got the Resistance Brew. So if you want to check out our coffee, go to weirdbrothers.com and look up Resistance Brew. Grab yourself a bag, take a sip, enjoy. Cheers. So we got the Resistance Report, James. We're going to get into the latest going on in Star Wars news. So why don't we dive in right now?
It's the Resistance.
All right, we're going to play a little game before we get into the Resistance Report, which is the first thing that comes to mind, right? So I'm going to say some words. You're going to picture the first thing that comes to mind. And the first, we're going to start off with Star Wars. Obviously, you have something in your head. You're picturing it. Then I go, holiday special. And you go, oh, something completely different in my head now. And then I go, Lego? And you go, oh, and you're back all of a sudden because the Lego Star Wars holiday special was recently released, and we have watched it. It was on Disney Plus. They don't release numbers, so who knows if it did well or not. But I think generally,
it's that streaming share percentage, James. What is it?
Yeah. Generally, Star Wars fans like ourselves, I think, it was received well, right? And now we're going to talk a little bit about it. Lacey, I'm going to start with you on this one because. I don't know why.
Because I'm the best. Thanks, James.
You would have fun talking about it. Yeah.
Best. I'll take that. I did watch this. I thought it was super fun. It went super fast. It was like very, very like started, right in the story. We're in it. We're fighting. Oh, it's been concluded. Done. Which is a very little kid thing. You know, obviously this is made for little kids and not for me. I know. I'm shocked too. But it was fun. It was fine. The only thing that really distracted me was the voices for Rey, Finn, and Poe. They obviously weren't the actors, so I could tell, I'm assuming like all adults could tell, but I don't know. The Rey one was the worst, I think, for me. Like, especially because she's the main character of the movie. I really would have liked to have seen Daisy reprise her role as Rey. And it just seemed like sometimes the voice was trying like really hard to be British. I think it was the one clip that really got me is when she was like, she said like yip tip or something. And it was so over the top. I was like, okay, what? Stop. Other than that, my favorite parts were Darth Vader actually was my favorite character in the whole holiday special. He was so funny, so well done. I love the part where he sees himself on Empire Strikes Back. It's so good. And just like the whole time where you have Kylo Ren, who's kind of made into a chump in this holiday special. They really poked fun at him. With the Emperor, and you have kind of like Darth Vader sulking with his arms crossed in the back, being like, oh, real original, like just funny stuff like that. And then a Baby Yoda.
Star Killer.
Star Killer.
It was wasn't it kind of like, it was like a little like Muppet Baby.
It was.
For Star Wars in a way.
It was. Yeah. I loved that show.
Not in a bad way.
I loved that show growing up, Muppet Babies.
Me too.
But yeah, I loved how they worked in The Mandalorian. As soon as I heard the music, I got so hyped. I think it's because we're all in just that Mando mode right now. And then Babu Frick at the end doing the little breakdancing like really made me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were doing the worm.
Yeah.
I had a weird kind of story with this because we did the like, oh, we're gonna do movie night. We got out the cocoa.
Oh, so you did do it with Bennett?
Cookies.
Yay!
Yeah.
Nice.
But
I watched
Bennett,
it alone as an adult.
Yeah, Bennett's at an age. Yeah, he just doesn't like he likes Mickey Mouse and he likes certain things, but like he hasn't clicked into Star Wars yet. I think he eventually will because he'll like start to get it. But I think even as like simple as it is, it's still like kind of deep.
Sure.
Like. He can't put together that these characters are like related or anything like that. Like he's still watching like these, he's still watching like Mickey Mouse, and they're like, "We need to build a birdhouse." Whatever.
That was a great impression.
But anyway, yeah, he was just running in circles the whole time and like screaming and like was playing and.
Did he stop for Baby Yoda at least?
No, he stopped. I kind of grabbed him and I was like, "You need to pay attention to this." And it was the part where the X-wing was sinking, and then like the creature grabbed BB-8 or whatever, and then he stopped at the very, very end of it. How did it go? Oh, they were like, he's like, I was like, what was your favorite part of that? And he describes like the whole end scene. He's like, there was 3 Chewbacca's and they were in the snow and blah, blah, blah. He's like, he goes to the whole end. And I was like, Bennett, that was just the last little bit that you saw. And he was like, I like the part where the thing grabbed him out of the water. And I was like, that's the only other part you saw.
It sounds like me talking about a Star Wars book.
Not paying attention.
Lacey, did you just read the back? What? No.
Yeah.
Although I just remembered Darth Maul's half fighting in the fight scene.
Hopping around. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Although I thought it was a little played out, the joke of like the Emperor taking on Kylo as the new apprentice and like pushing Vader apprentice. Out. Yeah, I felt like that was a little played out, but I did like how it all came together where he was like, both sides want to kill me and I don't really know what side I'm on right now.
Yeah.
I was like, at least they're kind of self-aware that they've been, that wasn't just like a quick throwaway joke from the Emperor, but has been like annoyingly consistent in trying to get rid of him or replace him or whatever. Which is also very Star Wars too, if you read like the comics and other stuff like that. Maybe we'll get to that. But yeah, John, what did you think of the special? You got to see it early.
Yeah, I had to write the review for it for Star Wars Newsnet, but so you can check out my written review over there with pretty much what I'm going to summarize here, which is, the things I didn't like, which is a very nitpicky thing, because, I mean, this is a fun thing and a 45-minute smile, which you can't take for granted in this year especially. But the Finn voice and the Rey voice I thought were rough. I actually thought Poe was great. When he walks in and he starts talking, like, people could have made the argument, oh, they got Oscar Isaac to come back. He needed a new Lego house, so he came back to sign this new deal. But yeah, I didn't like those voices. But what I did love about it was how it poked fun at itself. And I think that's huge for Star Wars because it almost makes you feel stupid as a fan when you're like, okay, so this franchise is making fun of its own flaws on their own product, and here we are taking this thing so seriously sometimes. Like, Kylo Ren's helmet. Oh, real original. You got yourself a black helmet. Oh, okay. Yeah. And like, the Exegol stuff and, all the things all down the line. Every trilogy got hammered. Every trilogy no trilogy was safe in this.
There's
except Mandalorian.
No way he could ever come back after
they
that.
Didn't. They did not poke fun at the Mandalorian. They kept that alone.
Yes.
They did because they said they were like, oh, he's so cute, and that's poking fun at the outside culture of the show, which is how they treat this show as a whole.
Oh, sure.
Like,
I'm saying they didn't really make fun
awesome.
of itself in the sense of they poked direct fun at everything else. Yeah.
Taking my takes. I did like that whole part about the Emperor. You can't come back from
Who took your takes, me or Lacey?
You.
I took your take?
Yeah, I was going to do that whole Mando bit.
Oh.
That's all right, though. But yeah, I mean, they feature the Mandalorian, which is the hottest Star Wars item right now, and all they do is focus on the cuteness of Baby Yoda for 3 seconds.
It was really cute.
You're like, wait, was Mando in it? You're like, oh, yeah. Yeah, he was. He's back there.
and IG-11, and they just like own it.
And the best is when they disappear, they all just are like.
Part. Yeah. No, but like even the prequels had shots taken at it. They made fun of Jar Jar's speech in the Senate.
How about Obi-Wan and Anakin in the elevator where he's like, he has the flowers.
Oh yeah. I mean, they just, it was self-referential and bringing the levity to the surface that was needed for a franchise that people are taking way too seriously online anyway. Casual fans don't know what's going on with the lunatics in fandom, but it was a good time. I remember just watching it, enjoying it, and having a smile on my face and feeling like a kid, getting that holiday vibe. Like when I finished it, I felt like a kid around, like I felt like when I was 7 years old around the holidays, and that's kind of what you want out of these sorts of things. So I had a good time with it. I enjoyed it, and I called it the Holiday Special Redemption Tour because I feel like it finally redeemed the 1978 abomination. That it's so funny. Like when things stink after like decades and decades, people think it's okay to say that it doesn't stink anymore. And everyone still says that holiday special sucks. Like, it's still okay to say the 1978 special sucks. Even Anthony Daniels in his book called it a turd. So it's just funny that thing is the one thing that prequels saved. Everything else saved. All your animations saved. All the old rides, toys, the Leia shampoo bottle saved. Pez dispensers, fine. Holiday special, garbage. Still garbage. So
Yeah.
I just love that this kind of gave it a little redemption. And maybe this is something that they could explore in the future, but I know it's a bit of an undertaking. Everyone's like, they should do one of these every year. I'm like, I don't think they're going to do that. But I think it was a lot of fun. And great job by Lego partnering with Disney and Star Wars to do this.
I mean, there's a lot of fun to be had with a lot of Lego properties, even within the Star Wars universe. I mean, Lego does a lot of animations like this for Star Wars, and they, take place in these worlds and have the same type of humor and everything. Like, Lego has definitely like worked in their brand to figure out like what type of stories they tell and what type of humor they have throughout. So I feel like if you enjoyed this, there are other Lego properties in Star Wars.
Like the Freemaker
canon.
Adventures.
Yeah. And not to mention just all the games.
The Lego Star Wars games are a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the same type of humor. I mean, all those like the Lego movie and all that other stuff is all stemmed off of the success of the games that people were like, oh, these are fun. They're not to be taken seriously. They kind of poke fun at the franchises that they're, but you got to know that they're fans at the core.
I still think Lego Batman's the best part of the Lego movie.
I like the movie Lego Batman, and I think most people don't.
I thought that movie was funny. I'm just saying the character himself, Lego Batman,
Will Arnett?
It's like perfectly hilarious, and it's the same kind of...
Well, his voice is funny as it is.
Yeah, it's the same kind of like poking fun at itself, where he's listening to the music like, dead parents.
One thing I'll say about the... speaking of dead parents, Star Wars, Finn... I thought even though it's not canon, they're kind of giving you like an acknowledgement like, yeah, he was Force sensitive and yeah, he's training to become a Jedi. And they can wipe that out if they want to, but I think that's where they would go if they continued the story. So it was a little interesting, even though this is not a canon thing, this special, seeing Finn using Rey's new yellow lightsaber and training. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was kind of funny too, because I felt like there were a lot of times in here where I was like, this is not canon, remember this is not canon, but there's things in there that I go, oh, like, I was like, that's kind of
until they open their
cool.
mouths, and then you were like,
and take that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was really glad that they didn't go Rey and Kylo versus Luke and Vader, but they switched it up and had Rey versus Vader and Kylo Ren versus Luke Skywalker. I was like, that's cool. It feels now that they were a little aware, and it kind of in a weird way felt like, when are you ever going to get to see Luke Skywalker and fight Kylo Ren? I'm like, this is kind of cool. It's kind of enjoyable in a way.
I wonder if Boyega watched this thing. Like, he watched it and he's like, come on! It's like, why couldn't they have done this? Why couldn't they have given me my lightsaber? They had to do this in the Lego special with someone else voicing my character.
Why couldn't they just pay me to do this?
Well, I'm sure they offered him.
You think so?
Yeah.
You don't think he...
No. Yes.
You think he turned it down?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, I do.
I think they just didn't want to pay him.
I think there's the burnt out factor with a lot of these people who are involved with the sequel trilogy that don't want anything to do with it.
I can't get over just how... I'm sorry. I'm going to be that person today. So bad. The voices were so bad.
No, yeah, they weren't good. But though I will say Matthew Wood's Kylo Ren was funny, I thought. Especially when he had the mask
on, yes. Mask off, no.
Yeah. What was the other thing? Oh, but then they did have obviously Anthony Daniels, of
Kelly
course,
was
but
great.
also Kelly Marie Tran.
She was wonderful.
And Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, I love the
walking in, laughing.
I love it's a cape.
I hope it's a cape.
Please be cape. Please be cape.
And then they did the it's a rap line.
Yeah.
But there's one.
You guys know what?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know what Tip Yip is, right?
No,
Tip.
It's one of the dishes at Galaxy's Edge.
Yes, I thought you meant like what did it come from?
There was another
Oh,
reference to
no.
Galaxy's
But
Edge,
like
too.
they kept saying like, yeah, there
And
were
he roasted it
couple
on
references
the-
there,
or
but
something.
The engine, like Galaxy's Edge,
Yeah.
and yeah.
I think I contributed to Star Wars. I don't know if you noticed it in the holiday special.
Was it the voice for Daisy Ridley?
It was might as well have used my. I never thought about it.
No, hers was like, I need to find my master. And I was like,
My master's master.
and then there'd be
It's my master with a blaster. He has a
there was
canister.
definitely. I'm not going to be able to think of it, but I remember
Finn. Like, ugh.
there was one line
No
that I
offense
was
to the
like,
actor.
that took me out of it because it was like a word that I wouldn't have ever thought she would have said it like that, but she did. Like I don't know,
Master Yoda.
orange or something. She's like orange, and I'm like, British people don't say orange. You know,
No.
like I was like, you're going way beyond.
They say Clementine.
what it is. Yeah,
No,
no.
they don't. And if you're going to make that joke, at least say meringue or something like that. Or what is that? No, not meringue. What is the jelly they eat over in England that has like rinds of orange in it? Marmalade. That's it.
Marmalade.
So, do you want to know my contribution to this special?
Yeah.
When Palpatine's falling, he refers to himself as Sheevy.
I noticed that at the end. I was like, oh, they've never used this before.
If he had said Sheevy Babes, I would have gotten on the phone with PR. I would have called, what's her name? Be like, what's going on here? But I thought that was funny.
I need to train Finn. Ugh.
Did you guys they didn't have anything Rogue One or anything Solo, did
No,
they?
they had young Solo. Oh no, they didn't. They
No, they
had.
Oh, that's right.
I think they had young Lando.
They had No,
I don't think they did.
I think what you're thinking of is they had original trilogy Han and sequel trilogy
I think
Han.
they kept it saga.
Yeah, probably.
But then they put in Mandalorian too, and I know that was just for like a
Maybe
joke,
Yoda.
but they did travel to that world for a second, and I was like, maybe if I did a rewatch of this, there might. If you guys know anything, put it in the comments. Like if there was like some sort of reference when they're like flying through the worlds,
Yeah,
if they, were on a specific planet or something. But, yeah, I don't know. That's about all we can say about the holiday special just off the top of our heads. We're glad that it's here. We're glad that it came. It's always going to live on Disney Plus, so as long as you have a subscription to that, you can watch it whenever you want.
I will watch that every year around this time of year.
I do notice.
I need to rewatch it again too because Bennett was running
I do
around.
notice though that the premise of this is basically the premise of the Lego Movie, where there's a special piece that they have to find.
Yeah,
The
but
special.
it turns out in the Lego Movie that he was the special.
Yeah, I guess, but still, like the whole premise at
Well-
the beginning is where he finds this piece.
Yeah, and you could loosely connect that to this. Like at the end, she realized she didn't have to go on a journey, and it was right there in front
It's
of her the whole
about
time.
family.
It's about family.
Governor.
Say that word. All right. Guys, let's talk a little Mandalorian. Moving on to our next story.
You
here.
know
Katee
who's
Sackhoff.
good at voices?
Oh, the best voice.
Katee Sackhoff does a great Bo-Katan voice,
Katee Sackhoff crushes Katee Sackhoff.
which I need to break that. She says Katan. Bo-Katan, like the settlers of Catan. Sort of.
You mean Catan?
Does anyone know what I'm talking about? No. All right. She did a lot of interviews, and she's just mostly was covering how's it feel to come back, play the character in live action. And she had a lot of different takes on this, and a lot of fun stories that involved when she found out and her seeing herself, even though she went to the set and filmed it and everything, she hadn't quite watched the episode because she still wanted to live in that weird possibility where it could maybe exist one day, and she's like, I know that it does, but I haven't watched it yet, so it doesn't exist yet. And a lot of fun little things like that. And she also talked a little bit about how invested she has been in this character for a very long time, including having dreams because you're just consistently like that deep into a character's mind, which is interesting. And she said in the end, it became a dream for me, dream come true. So a lot of things to talk about here. John, did you have any specific takeaways from Katee Sackhoff doing a bunch of interviews for StarWars.com and for Entertainment Tonight?
I mean, yeah, first off, this is going to be the casting that people refer back to when this situation happens again in the future. They're going to look back at, wow, they took the actor who played this role in animated first and actually brought her physically and as voice to live action. It's breaking brand new ground, never been done before in Star Wars. Even the Saw Gerrera thing, he played... Forrest Whitaker didn't play Saw Gerrera till after Rogue One in Rebels. So this is shattering new ground, unless I'm missing something. But in a significant way, this is it that I can see. From going from animated to live action. There's been going from live action to animated. That's different. This is going from animated for 12 years to live action and you being the person playing the role. Massive. Especially when you have the elephant in the room, which is Ashley Eckstein. Obviously wanted to have a shot to play Ahsoka Tano. Not happening. Didn't get an audition. Dave Filoni gives Katee Sackhoff the opportunity. Favreau brings her in. It's got to sting a little bit. I know we talked about this on the podcast, but focusing on the positive here, which is Katee Sackhoff, things that stand out to me is that she respects Star Wars. It's not, she's not above it. She is a fan of the history of the character, the history of the story. She's been a fan of it since she was 3 years old, she said. And sometimes I like to think you don't want to cast fans of something in it, but I disagree with that. I think they should go more towards that because these people get it like we do. What we do here, we're good at doing this stuff. They're good at making it. And I think having someone who cares about it that much is a strength and not a weakness. The fact that she's having dreams, not only dreaming about Bo-Katan, she's having dreams as her, she said, which is crazy to me. So she's dreaming about being her character and like going on these like events. That's like I don't know, an Inception or something. It's crazy. So I don't know, everything about that she had to say, I loved. I thought she did a great job as the character, more importantly, which is first and foremost. But I really dig the fact that she gets it, she understands it, she respects it, and I hate to do it, but I automatically have to parallel that against what's going on with the sequel trilogy actors, who I feel think that they're beyond Star Wars now, and that they don't need Star Wars. They're kind of tired of Star Wars, and it's almost like we're too good for Star Wars, but we put it past us, and we don't want to talk about Star Wars type of thing. Whereas you have someone on this end of the aisle who's like, yes, I fought for this and I wanted to do this so badly. And I think that rings well with fans, especially when it's sincere, and she is on the button, sincere and genuine about it. And it comes through in her performance. She's very passionate about it, and she wanted to do her character well, and she did. Yeah.
Lacey, what do you think?
So first of all, it's super interesting that she discusses how in 2019 she went up to Filoni and was like, hey man, you're doing a show about the Mandalorian. Like, what the hell? And it reminds me of that interview, James, that you talk about a lot, where they asked her about it and she was like, well, I have an NDA. And you're like, that could mean season 2. And James, you were right. She showed up. She's there. No, the thing that stood out to me was, one, that she told her dad that she's in the show and he's the only one that knew. And I love that she put, I was nervous because I told him and he really likes Facebook. Like, all you needed was her dad being like, hey guys, guess what? New update. Katie's Bo-Katan in the new Mandalorian.
Not to interrupt you, that stuff is real. I had a friend whose mom ruined their pregnancy announcement by posting it before they had a chance to.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, based on
Parents are crazy with social media.
Parents, they just want to have that moment. And I think a lot of us have that on social media where you like want to be that first person to post that thing. Well, theirs isn't Star Wars news. Theirs is my kids having kids before your kids. Like that's their moment. No, but the thing that stood out to me the most with Katee's interviews is when she was talking to StarWars.com and she's talking about how much it meant for her to play a role like this, and growing up, how she really looked up to characters like Princess Leia, and Princess Leia taught her that, you know, you can hang with the guys. She had a gun. She fought for herself. She was funny. She was feisty. She spoke her mind. And I connect with that personally because that's the reason that I liked Star Wars. You know, I loved Luke Skywalker because he was a Jedi and he was the hero, but I really connected with Leia because she was the first female character that I saw when I was little that wasn't a princess being rescued via Disney. She was like, I don't need you. You just happen to open the door for me. Like, I'll just get out on my own. I'll take this gun and I'll fight my way out and I'm in charge. And that's something that's super important. So I liked that she stressed how much it meant to her that kids, especially little girls now, are going to see her character in live action going, I want to be that character. Because it's super important.
A lot of Halloween costumes next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's super cool, and it kind of resembles how I felt when Rey grabbed the lightsaber of like, this is our moment, you know? You're finally getting these strong characters to lead the way, and not only to be ahead of other characters, but to hold their own ground. Like, she was a leader, but she wasn't any better than the Mandalorian. Like, they were all kind of just holding their own. But yet she was not backing down from what she wanted. And I really liked that.
Yeah. One of the things you just reminded me of was her, and you gotta love this, her making the comparison between her and Satine, and like how would my character who was around then evolve to be who she is now? And obviously you rest on Favreau and Filoni to bring that out in the pages. You got to imagine Favreau leaned heavily on Filoni for the character as he was writing excellent sellable dialogue for Bo-Katan, which makes them such a good pairing. But her also being dialed into that and delivering that and having all the history in her eyes, having done the character, is something you can't manufacture.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that you brought that up too, because I was kind of taken away from that, and I think that honestly a lot of that it speaks to Katie's character as far as like her paying attention to these shows and these characters and things, but I also think that really it says a lot about Dave having worked on Clone Wars and on Rebels, because I feel like that type of a connection with their animated character is pretty widespread across everybody who was involved in the shows that he was involved in, because I feel like he would be the guy that would be like, hey, here's your lines, come over here real quick, and then he'd lay it down like you just got, you know, kicked out of this group from someone who hates your kind, you know what I mean, or whatever.
For having,
you know,
a mind
and
of your own.
Really, yeah, but I think he does a really good job at painting these characters, and he understands Star Wars so well that when he's saying, I want you to deliver lines like this, like they know exactly where they're coming from. And when she gets a chance to be in this show, you know, she already has this great history of like, I remember when I was this character, when I was involved in the Death Watch. I remember when I had to choose a side with Maul. I remember when later I started to become a hero after my sister was killed and I had to take on the Darksaber myself. And now I find myself in this position. She's already had the path laid out for her. So now Bo-Katan is more of a hero, and they're treating her more like a good character. And so, I don't know. I feel like...
She also hinted, by the way, that she knows what happens from then to now. And she's not going to say anything.
Yeah, but she also hinted at a lot of other things,
Yeah, but she said she's not going to... She said, I'm not going to say anything.
Well, I think you have to, right? Because when she grabs... what is his name? Welliver. Titus Welliver? The guy who's playing the Imperial
The guy that
commander.
uses the electric.
The guy used the cyanide, electric cyanide thing. When she grabs him, what? That's what.
No, he's laughing at me because I went
like.
electric.
No, I'm not. No, I'm laughing at John saying electric cyanide. It's like saying like the electric poison water. Like, what? That doesn't. I mean, I know what you mean.
It's a cyanide capsule, but in Star Wars. Yeah, whatever it is.
It's not electric.
I saw a meme
cyanide.
going around that was like
funny.
the power of 5 gum, and it was like the picture of him.
But when she grabs him and puts the blade to his throat and says, the Darksaber, it will be mine again or whatever, where is it? Like, there's vengeance in her voice, and you need to direct that, and she needs to understand why she feels that way. So, of course, she definitely knows how it got in the hands of Moff Gideon, where it got lost from Mandalorians to him. Probably even knows who he is. There's probably a lot they had to fill her in on in order to deliver that.
I just found it more that she like sneakily hinted at it. Like, of course I know. Hee hee.
Like, I agree.
Because I just feel like her in particular, and this goes back to what James said a year ago, is like, she knows, and she's telling you she knows. And she's not playing that game of like, I don't know. She's like, no, I know, but I'm not going to tell you.
If it was another actor that they got to play Bo-Katan and they just like, listen, this is really important to your history, your ancestry, the future of Mandalorians, you are angry and you're going to express that here. That's probably all you got to tell that person. But when it's someone who's played the character for so long, you're like, you already know, we don't need to waste time on this. This is what's going on here. This is the cream filling of the Oreo sandwich that is you in the Clone Wars and you now. This is what happened. She's probably like, oh my God. Like, tell me more.
Not to make it even more painful, but that's why the Ashley stuff hurts even more.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, I feel like you guys go on and on about that, and I'm like, I get that it kind of sucks or whatever, but like, there are so many other characters, and I was thinking earlier when you were bringing it up, John, maybe we should do like a Kessel Run or something of animated actors or actresses who could even play their part, because there's so many of them that I'm like, nope, that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, good voice acting, I love it. It's associated with the character.
I'm not saying
that person could never play that character in real life.
And she should have played.
And Ashley was always that for me.
I'm not saying she should have played.
Neither am I. I'm just saying it just sucks.
You gotta give the courtesy audition. You gotta do it.
Because then at least it's hers to lose,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. But I don't even think it's about skill. It's about like so much other stuff. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway,
it's about family.
It's about family.
No, you gotta say it like Carrie Fisher. We got the cigarette hanging out of her mouth with a Coca-Cola.
Oh, I was doing the same Bad Daisy from earlier, which is
Daisy.
Funny because as you said, you said that, I was thinking it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, Daisy Ridley is back in the news, right? We don't normally hear from the big three much these days, unless they're promoting another movie. And wouldn't you know it, Daisy Ridley is promoting another movie. But she, of course, got asked about her feelings on a very weird topic, which I don't even know why it's a thing, really. But I do, but... the thoughts on Baby Yoda eating the eggs. I mean, we can talk a little bit about what she said about that, but my main takeaway from this is her happiness and conclusion with where the saga ended up, and how she feels like, that was Rey's story, and I wouldn't have really wanted it to go any more than that. That was the tail end. That was perfect in her eyes. So, Lacey, I'm going to start with you on this one. You kind of got two stories in one. Which one you gonna tackle?
So I'm gonna probably tackle the Baby Yoda stuff because I know John has some supreme thoughts about the other stuff. But the funny thing is I keep harping back to Daisy's voice, but it's so particular. I'm saying like you agree with her strongly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So I'm letting you talk about it. He just made a face for audio listeners. So it's funny that we keep harping on Daisy's voice because when I read interviews with her, I hear her saying
3
it.
stories now.
Like when I read like really, really satisfying. I was like, yep, that's Daisy, because she loves the word satisfying. We're back to that again.
She's been hanging out with JJ.
Yeah. But the Baby Yoda thing made me laugh because I was like, really? You have this time with Daisy Ridley and you're going to just throw in the clickbaity social media question? Like, it drives me nuts sometimes, I'm not going to lie, when sites do this. When they throw in those, like, 1 to 2 questions that are literally just throwaways. It's like, you have this time with this person. You could ask them basically anything within reason, and you're going to waste it on this question. But I'm not surprised that she's just like, I don't know, what is that? Are you...
That's clicking. Oh. Click, 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 click.
John's doing a weird thing. I thought you were putting salt down, like I was being salty, and I was like, yeah, I am being a little salty.
Click. So here's the bait, and here's the clicking. The person clicking. It's like, oh.
Quickly too. It's kind of weird to ask her those questions after episode 3 aired, where it felt like it was a little bit more settled.
Right.
Anyway.
Now you're calling back to something that's been dealt with.
And she's like, I don't know why it was a big deal. She's there, they're with the family. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's not a big deal now. It was a big deal, but we didn't know she was going to make it.
So if you're going to ask her about Mandalorian, why wouldn't you ask her about, like, so what do you think of Bo-Katan? What do you think of all these other, like, you know, cool characters? Like, who is your favorite character or something like that? Like, why would you waste it on this? Just because it really is a weird question to ask Daisy Ridley, but I get it. They want the clicks. Other than that, I was excited for her to talk about The Mandalorian in the sense of, like, what they're doing with the volume and, like, just watching the show and all the different places they get to go. Even though she said that she kind of is happy where Rey is, I think there was a hint at a possibility of, I'm seeing what they're doing and it opens up the doors for much more. And it's just nice to know that Daisy's doing well. You know, she disappeared for a little bit, which I understand. It was a long haul for a couple years, but it's nice to know that she's doing well. And I'll probably see her new movie. It looks pretty fun.
I was just going to say, before we move on, did you watch the trailer?
I did.
Is that like
so I haven't read the books, but I read kind of the overview of what the books are about. It's definitely kind of like a YA, seemingly Hunger Games type book. It's made by Lionsgate.
I feel like their movies just have a specific look
Lionsgate
to them.
loves...
It's like you can watch a trailer and you're like, oh, this was a YA book series.
The
Nicholas Sparks, right?
No, that's romance.
That's not.
You
that's
always
not.
do that. No, this one definitely, you know, a guy with a girl. They're both young. I guess in the book they're 16 or something. They're older in this movie. But I mean, I'm just excited to see her in more movies.
It always has something to do with like challenging some sort of like bigger government authority. But not like in Star Wars. It's weird. Yeah.
And she looks good and blonde.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I liked she could pull anything
like in a good way.
Let's be honest.
Well.
All right.
I don't know what that means. John, what were your takes on her
weirdo
as far as the wrap up to Rey's story?
Yeah, phony baloney. Complete Daisy Ridley is a phony.baloney@gmail.com.
It depends what point that you're saying she's phony about.
That she's saying it's over and she liked the ending and she can't imagine anything that she would need to come back for because Rey's just running through the forest and stuff. She's coming back. And, I tweeted, when I quote tweeted the article of our report on it, I was like, oh, I hope I see her one day because I'm trying not to do takes on Twitter anymore because people don't understand what nuance is because people are stupid. So
you are very feisty today. Calling people lunatics.
I'm a little spicy today.
They're stupid.
Yeah. No, don't try to do that. Don't even try to do
you
that.
You said that earlier.
Don't even. Some people are lunatics. It's true. Keeps the world going around, folks. But she's a phony baloney. She'll be back in a big way. I think they're going to come back in the next 10 years and have some kind of new trilogy. I mean, look, I don't know that Daisy Ridley is... turning down offers for a lot of movies right now. I don't know what's going on with her. I know this movie was filmed a long time ago that she's promoting right now. I think even maybe filmed before The Rise of Skywalker.
It was definitely delayed because they had to do reshoots. And both Tom Holland and her, he was working on Spider-Man, Marvel stuff. She was working at Star Wars. So
And she didn't do the thing that John Boyega and Oscar Isaac did, which was kind of like say, no, I'm done, which they both did. Mm-hmm. She didn't. She's not taking that path.
John said for now, I think, didn't he?
Well, this summer he's kind of like dialed it back, but this summer he said, I'm done.
I just remember him being like, for now.
So there's this big
Star Wars, I can't be with you.
Now.
Right. Yeah.
Just need a break.
There's this
working on me.
big thing on Instagram this summer where someone asked him, I can't wait to see you with a green lightsaber and now becoming a Jedi. And he's like, nah, man, I'm done. I'm done with Star Wars. And people made a big deal out of it. And maybe he was having a bad day that day. You never know. But he's kind of walked it back a little bit lately. Like, remember, he was also doing the whole, you're not going to Disney Plus me. And now he's probably like,
Oscar Isaac is now on a Disney Plus series.
I would love to be Disney Plus. Yeah, I would absolutely love to be Disney Plus right now. So anyway, back to Daisy, though. I think they would want to build around her for the future, especially if they can't figure out how to expand Star Wars beyond things connected to that main line, which she is now the bearer of that. She is the one to carry that forward out of your main protagonists. Star Wars hasn't really branched out yet to that point. I mean, look now. I mean, we're going to talk about this more on Thursday, on Thanksgiving. But I think she's going to come back, and I think this is kind of a way for her to say, I loved how that ended. I thought it was perfect. And she got flack for that, I guess, for people who didn't like it, but she doesn't care. She has her thoughts on it. She's not on social media. She doesn't dial into that stuff. She's fine. She even brings up the ridiculousness of cancel culture. She mocks it in a way, and I think she recognizes that it's a bit too much, as a lot of people are, even in the media. And she's just giving her honest thoughts, and she enjoyed her journey through those three movies, and for now, she has closure on it, and she's done with it, and she's closed the book, but it doesn't mean she can't open the book up again. So I think she's coming back, but I also think she knows how to play play not both sides, but play the neutral game in terms of how to tackle these types of Star Wars questions. She's become a pro at answering Star Wars questions, but maybe better than anybody right now out of this new group. Whereas, like, maybe early on she was a little more hesitant and tentative to say certain things, but now she's very good at weaving in and out, like Han through the asteroid field. But I think she's going to come back.
Well, first of all, that was not the take that I thought you were going to have. I thought your take was going to be like, yes, 100%. I agree.
That's what I thought your take was going to be.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be it. That you like agree with her, like, but it was more of a outside the story perspective of what you think she's actually going through. And I also, this is in my head.
From what though? Agree with? What's there to agree with?
Just because like, you really like the Rey Skywalker ending of that movie, and I know some people don't. So I thought you would have been like, see, guys, I agree with her. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, but I think she's liked it from the beginning. Like, this isn't a new revelation. Like, she's always said she really liked how everything ended for her character. And she got flack for it then. She gets flack for it this past summer when she talked about it. She gets flack for it now.
I think around the premiere, she wasn't as straightforward. I think the Josh Gad thing, she was a little bit more like, I understand where my character is gone, and you know, it's been some time. I've had time to think about it. But like around the premiere, her interviews, like when they asked her what her reaction was at the end of the movie, she kept making weird faces. She was kind of just... Well,
that's just a thing where you don't want people to get a vibe on what
I'm just saying it wasn't as straightforward as this interview was, where she was like, yes, I did like the ending.
I think this also happens to anybody that even when they just like went and saw a big movie, like what did you think of The Rise of Skywalker? You're like, I don't want to like say what I'm kind of thinking right now because I'm still processing it, and a little while later you come to a more better conclusion. When you're that invested in it, and everybody's like, how did you feel about how your character ended up? You're kind of like. I mean, that's one option. I also, when I started this, I probably had 15 other perfectly crazy examples that didn't come true. Yeah. for this story, but also my career and how people are reacting to my characters and stuff. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that stuff. But
I think that I don't like that when people take actors' reactions on red carpets and try to apply whatever they feel about it to that reaction.
It wasn't just red carpets. Like it was the press tour too. Like she kind of left it very open-ended that she was happy.
Yeah. That's not even really what we're talking about. I just kind of assumed that fans, that there were a lot of people that said, we don't like the way this story ended up specifically for this character. And we know you did. So I thought your take was going to be exactly what Lacey thought. See?
She did like it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you definitely had this a totally different perspective on that, which is great. It's fine. Yeah.
I don't know that there's anything to say about that.
That's fine.
That's like let's go to John for his take. I like the Rise of Skywalker, and now to Wendy Weatherstone for.
It's also in stark contrast to other characters like John Boyega saying he didn't like where his character ended up. So it's like when Daisy comes out and says that she does, I don't know. Never mind. It doesn't really matter. Everybody gets it. You guys get it, right? Listeners get it. Everybody gets it.
Yeah.
I had something. Nah, it didn't really matter. You guys want to talk? Let's blow through a couple of these other stories.
I wrote a whole article about that months ago.
Okay, John. He's just really going for it.
That was my seasonal.
That's why we thought that's what your take was.
Well, I got dragged to the high heavens for defending her take on her character back then. So what am I going to do? Is talk about it again now? Get your screenshots ready, folks. Blow up your Twitter to add more to the block list.
John, it's not a bad thing. I was just surprised that what I thought you were going to say, you didn't say.
I just, out of all the takes to look for, it's like so surface level, but all right.
John likes movie.
Movie good.
I got it right there.
Yeah.
I got the damn poster on my wall right there.
All right. Well, we want to talk a little bit about comics.
One other thing about... No, I'm just kidding.
Sure.
That's it.
About theme parks and other things that are going on. Just a really quick one. I don't know if anybody's reading the Vader line, but I think I think it's been fairly well received among a lot of people, but we're getting a lot of closer tie-ins to some of the sequel trilogy stuff, including... Darth Vader actually coming into contact with Ochi of Bassoon, and also possibly the Eye of Webbish Bog, and maybe Exegol down the line. There has been, I don't know if anybody has read the From a Certain Point of View, but there is a perspective that, we got from the comics that Vader was a little bit more aware of Luke being his son earlier than we saw in the movie. And now from this other book, we're finding out that the Emperor was a little bit more aware that Vader knew that. And I don't know. It's kind of confusing, but they like to really play around with that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you are interested in all that type of stuff, that back and forth relationship between Vader and the Emperor, then you might want to check out these comics because they are really exploring that, as well as some of the newer content, and trying to tie it all into the ultimate Palpatine contingency plan over the scope of the multiple movies that came out.
What's the timeline? What's the timeline on that comic, roughly?
The timeline on that comic is, I think... Shoot, man. It is... It's definitely between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, but I'm trying to think if it's before or after Empire Strikes Back, because the Star Wars mainline just moved past Empire Strikes Back. But right. I'm kind of...
The reason I ask, and I'm sure people in the comics are going to... in the comments are going to light us up on it, but because you allude to the fact of the Emperor knowing that Vader knows about Luke as his son, whereas they kind of... The conversation between the Emperor and Vader in Empire, Palpatine's kind of telling him about, we have a new enemy, the young rebel, the son of Skywalker or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting a little fuzzy on me. So I'm not sure when they tackle
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those scenarios where, like, when that story initially came out, it's like, oh, okay, this is the Emperor finding out and then telling Vader for the first time, and Vader finding out for the first time. But we know in the other comics, and now we know from a certain point of view, that this encounter now that happens in the movie is a little bit more like a poker game where they're sitting there and they're like, oh, guess what I just found out yesterday? Luke is somebody's son. And then Vader's like, oh my, I didn't know that.
Is this the comic?
They're just playing off of each other. Well,
I'm so confused.
It's okay. The Vader comics were the one that exposed when Vader actually found out about the Luke Skywalker. That was a long time ago. But then now from a certain point of view,
from Boba Fett, right?
From Boba Fett, yeah.
It's amazing.
But from a certain point of view, book points out that the Emperor was able to key in on Vader's presence and awareness and thoughts and other things like that, and he was able to envision him getting together with Luke and overthrowing them and stuff like that. So when he goes to Vader for the first time in Empire Strikes Back and tells him about that, he knows that Vader already knows. So he's kind of playing with him.
Kyle gave this a rough review, this issue. He gave it a 5.5.
That's low for Kyle.
Didn't like it. Well, Kyle does not, and I don't think I'm blowing up his spot here. He's not a big Rise of Skywalker guy. And I guess this is setting up some Exegol stuff. I don't think he's into that, but
yeah. I based on his review, I think he was a little bit more like, I wish we could focus on this other stuff and not like continually trying to retcon or make these other stories make sense.
You know what I want to retcon?
I like that stuff. I like when they tie it all in together, because then I feel like you get the part of the story that you didn't have before that makes everything snap.
Yeah.
But
I want to retcon the pricing of this hotel.
Yes, absolutely. There is not a lot. We just want to talk about it really quick because it's upcoming at Star Wars. It's something kind of exciting. We got a little bit of a update on the Disney Galactic Cruiser that's coming out for Galaxy's Edge. There was a virtual event that happened, and they showcased a couple photos of what it looks like inside the room. But I mean, nothing crazy. It was just finally the first time, besides concept art, that you actually got to like look and be like, I could sleep in that bed. That's the one. It's not just like this. It looks like wild visualization.
Jango and Boba's room in Camino.
Yeah, it looks like and then it's got like the bunk bed type beds from the Millennium Falcon.
It feels cold. I don't know how else to put it.
Well, space is cold, John.
Well, it's in. Yeah, I was gonna say.
You're not out in space. You're in a temperature controlled.
You are in space on this cruiser.
But you're inside. But if you were like you're not out in the vacuum of space.
But if you were in like Fargo and there's a big window and you could see all the snow and you see Hoth out there,
you're like, I also cold. Meant more from a vibe standpoint.
Well, I thought it was really cool. Yeah. I'd love to stay there. Yeah. I've never wanted to sleep on a bunk bed more. Those are so cool. I wish I had tons of money to just go to this thing.
Lower the price and I'll go sleep in that bed.
or please, if anybody is a listener that has any sort of connection with someone who works at Disney, come on. Get the Resistance broadcast there. Get the Resistance broadcast there. All right. No, I mean, I don't know. We always hope to get invites to those things, and sometimes we do. So
let's make some content.
Really
let's go down and make some content.
Yeah. That's it for Resistance Report. All right, Lacey, what do we got?
All right, guys, it's time for the Patreon pod race. So there are lots of ways you can support us. You can like this video, comment, subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on all the different podcast apps, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. You can like us on Twitter at RBATSWNN or on Instagram at The Resistance Broadcast. But if you want more stuff from us every month and you want to support us, and once we get to travel again, support us traveling and making new content and upgrading our equipment and all this other stuff to make great quality content for you, you can head over to patreon.com/RBATSWNN patreon.com/resistance broadcast. Starting at $2 a month, you get access to the page and all the different types of content that we create. And as you go up in the ranks, you get more access, including Discord servers and much more. So the Patreon pod race is the chance for our top tier, our generals, to be a part of the show. So before we get started, I want to thank our generals. So thank you, Carmelo, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, Neil Shaw. I always get to like one and my brain works faster.
Did you say Neil?
I don't know what that was. Neil, I'm sorry. You're the best. Neil Shaw, David Probit. It's always like, I bet they listen and they're like, who's it going to be this week?
Well, usually it's Harbison.
No, it hasn't been in a while. David Probit.
You mean Harbison?
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, David Probus, John Reese, Micah Harrison, Jetta Rosewater, Michael Gaines, Bethany, Russ Harbison, Kendall Gelnar, and new General Paul Olson. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Resistance. We're excited to have you. It means so much to us and supporting the show. So this is the chance for you guys to be a part of it. We ask you a question and you give us your answer. This week, it's General Micah. And we asked him, there's no Obi-Wan, only Micah. You are the young Jedi at the end of the Phantom Menace. The sliding doors open and there is Darth Maul ready for the duel of the fates. But wait, there is no Qui-Gon. Pick any Star Wars character to fight alongside you in your duel against Darth Maul. And why would you pick them? Micah, take it away.
That's a portrait of Baby Yoda, or Tiny. Hi, guys. Miss you all. Love you all. Just wanted to say that real quick. I hopefully will be around a little bit more now. What a question, man. Whew. I think the first one that pops to mind is Ahsoka Tano, because she has technically beaten Maul. And if there's no Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon, kind of leaves me with a few options for who has actually faced down Maul in his prime. And I think he was definitely in his prime when he fought Ahsoka, even with the legs going and all that. He was really, really bad ass. Hope I can say that, James. My second choice might be a little bit off the whatever. It's I think Kanan Jarrus embodies what it is to be a real Jedi, what the Jedi were supposed to be. I think he's got the most balance, if you will, balance in the Force. Yeah, I think he could do some serious damage to a aggressive Maul, young Maul, with the anger and the wanting to take his vengeance out on the Jedi. I think a balanced Jedi would be more powerful against him than picking somebody with all the cool lightsaber moves or something. But and then of course me with my unmatched skills with a lightsaber, we would just kill it, obviously. But I hope you guys are all well. Again, I love you all. I miss you all. May the Force be with you.
All right, Micah, great job. Thanks for the tour of your house. What kind of cabinets are those? They're really quality hardwood with that like crown molding on the top. That's nice, wood paneling. Love the Baby Yoda portrait. John, what did you think?
I almost want to take my camera and start walking around my No, Micah, you're the best, dude. Love and miss you too, man. Hope everything's going well with the restaurant. I hope you're cooking up some good stuff. And if we ever do get to hang out, you're cooking me some food.
Steak.
Man. And I know you already said you would, so yeah. No, I thought a great answer. Obviously, the Ahsoka thing makes a lot of sense. The Kanan one I found interesting as well for your logic behind it. But I thought you cracked me up when you said that you can't be bested. So I thought that was good. Great job as always. I do like the Baby Yoda art. But thanks for all your support, man. You're always you are still the spice runner in my eyes, and I'm sure you're gonna reclaim that throne once you get back into the bonus videos on Patreon, because you always bring the comments. I think I might be the spiciest here of the three of us sometimes.
Depends what kind of mood I'm in.
Maybe Lacey, yeah, but for sure out of our generals, you take the taco, pal. And thanks for that. You did a great job on that pod race. Thanks for your support, man.
Yep. I love the podcast. I love this. This was a good question. I immediately go to that type of logic too. Like, well, who's someone we already know has beaten this character before? So that makes a lot of sense. And of course, my boy, Kanan Jarrus, buddy. Yeah. I think Qui-Gon gets a lot of that whole like the perfect Jedi thing, but You guys need.
You
to
mean Obi-Wan?
You guys need to know where you're looking, buddy. No, Qui-Gon.
Obi-Wan's a goat.
Nope. No, Obi-Wan.
You mean
so many
Kiadi
failures.
Mundi?
Yes, I mispronounced his name.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to watch everybody do their video or whatever. This kind of reminded me of that that old MTV show Fear, or Mitchell and Webb look Sir Digby Chicken Caesar. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
The point of view
But
cam.
that is a thing. If you do know what I'm talking about on that one, write it in the comments. Let me know. Hit me up on Twitter. Great pod race. Thanks for being a general. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for doing it. Yeah.
All right, guys. I blanked for a second there, but I'm back. Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for your support. And now we're going to head to John to hear from the rest of the community. John?
Yes, we are. And Lacey mentioned equipment upgrades. So if you're watching on YouTube, you notice I have a new mic and some new headphones, and that's all because of Patreon support. So it's legit, and we thank you guys, really, seriously. Question time.
I've been wondering, what are midi-chlorians?
You guys ready to answer some
That's
questions?
why I blanked out. I was thinking of my answer for this question.
All right, that's cool. Do you want me to give you a little time?
No, I'm
Go
good.
James
I'm
first?
good.
Oh, okay. All right. So what we do here is we put out a question, a pitch for questions at Ask the Resistance. Hashtag, what am I doing? Hashtag Ask the Resistance on Twitter. My brain is a jello today. At RBATSWNN. And you send them in, and we pick some good ones to talk about, and we got some good ones here. First one, probably the best sequel trilogy Luke Skywalker cosplayer. Fluke Skywalker.
Probably the best.
He is the best. Even the voice, he does such a good job. But he couldn't get his handle, Fluke. At one Fluke Skywalker. Close, man. But you're still
Make it
best.
the Fluke
He has-
Skywalker. What are you doing? It's probably too long.
I'm going to take that. Yeah. It is. Yeah. I think it is too long. Do you think...
Fluke Skywalker was taken? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably by one of those people.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Do you think with digital technology continuously improving, Disney will explore the relationship between Luke and Mara Jade in an upcoming movie? I'd like to see their courtship and marriage and her flying around in her space plane. Who would you suggest play Mara? Lacey, you want to tackle this one?
So we know that George hated Mara Jade. That is like a thing that we are aware of. We learned that here on the podcast. People went a little crazy about it.
Thanks to...
What?
JW?
Yes. Thanks to JW.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the thing. Here's where I'm at. I know people love Mara Jade. I know people are like really want to see that character in live action and see her story explored. I am going to say no to the relationship with Luke Skywalker. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to leave Luke as he is and as you see him in the sequel trilogy. You might see him prior as like teaching young Jedi, I think, and we've thrown that around on the show, but we've never really discussed like romance. I don't think you're going to see that from Luke Skywalker. But I do think that there is a possibility that they could introduce Mara Jade in just a different way. They could just take the idea of the character and bring her into something else, into a series, and she just won't be the one you know from the books. She'll look the same, have a similar background or storyline, but she won't be involved with Luke. That's my guess. If I was going to pick someone to play her, I'd pick Rebecca Ferguson from Mission Impossible because she's wonderful.
Ooh, that's a good choice.
Yeah, she's really good at action. She's tough. She's kind of snarky. And I think she'd be good.
I thought you were going to say Anna Taylor-Joy.
She's too young. No, I would pick someone that's a little bit older. And obviously, Rebecca Ferguson is not old. That's not what I'm saying. But Anna Taylor-Joy is like in like a teen, young 20s look to her. I think Mara Jade's going to be older.
What about your girl, Florence Pugh?
Again, I think she's a little on the young side. I think Mara Jade's going to be
really?
more of an older character. And I don't think... I don't know. I don't see Florence having that... the look of what I, in my head, picture as Mara Jade. And I think a lot of fans do. Whereas I feel like Rebecca Ferguson has that look and could pull off the red hair and would look good.
Nice. Lacey, I have some bad news for you. I just got an alert from our main chat on our Patreon Discord, and Count Pepto, one of our admirals, said, I just finished the episode from last Thursday, and he said, I loved the smooth intro.
I love that you had to interrupt my answer to tell me that someone loved your bit from last week.
Oh, I thought you finished your answer because you said you were going to cast somebody. You have more to your answer?
No, we're all good. Back to you,
right.
John.
All right. James, Mike Ramore at Drum Jedi said, other than who we already suspect to show up in The Mandalorian, what is a side character that would be good fit to show up at some point in this series? Mine is Hondo.
Oh, you know what? You know what's funny about this is I actually came up with an answer for this, and I was like, "Yep, got it." And then I realized later in the day that it doesn't work very well, and then I was like, "Oh shoot!" So I'll have to think of another one. And then I never thought of another one, but I'll give you the one that I thought of, which was Chewbacca. And the reason I wanted to see Chewbacca was because I felt like you don't have to worry, because you think about your Lukes and your Leias and your Landos and stuff, and I go, nah, they can't do that. And I was like, what's a character that you could bring in? And I was like, oh, you could bring in Chewbacca. And I know that they marketed Clone Wars like, or was it Clone Wars? Maybe it was Rebels. No, it was Clone Wars. They were like, oh, Chewbacca's in the show, and they marketed around like his appearance, and I know they've done that with other ones like Princess Leia and Saw Gerrera and even Lando. When they show up in these animated shows, they use it as marketing to get you to watch the latest episodes, and I thought that would be a really good way if they showed Mandalorian, they showed just Chewbacca. Everybody's like, oh, I gotta tune in for that one. It would be exciting in a fun way, and it wouldn't have to necessarily break canon. The reason I thought it was a bad idea, though, is I was like, you're not really going to separate Chewbacca from Han. That I feel like that would be kind of hard to pull off. But come on, there could be like, something. Right? He didn't know he was going to get in any trouble. He went off and was delivering some stuff, and he ran into these people, and then he went back. I don't know. Maybe they could pull it off and give Jonas a little bit of work. It's kind of a bad answer because I feel like there's a problem there, but I would love if they would figure out a way to bring in Chewbacca into the show, just maybe for like an episode or something.
Yeah, cool. Chewbacca goes
or just show him sitting in a bar or whatever.
He goes somewhere for Falcon repairs, and he runs into him.
Yeah,
why not?
Especially with Hondo too, considering they get along later.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that answer. All right, next one. Blog of the Hut said, we know Tiny, aka Baby Yoda. Thanks for the use of Tiny. Very cool. Is 50 years old. Yoda said he was training Jedi since he was 100, meaning he was a fully trained knight at that age. Do you think that species has a crazy growth spurt at some point, and this is why the child won't stop stuffing his adorable green face? I think this is one of the best questions.
That is a great question.
I've been thinking about this for a while because I am obsessed with continuity with Star Wars and the age stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's 50 years away from where Yoda was training Jedi. And we've talked about that on this podcast. Like, when does the switch happen? So I think there's an aggressive aging that happens, and it's coming soon for Baby Yoda. And I do think that's why we're seeing him like doing all this crazy stuff. Like he's going through his puberty or something right now. Like, I think it's like he's going through this, like these changes, and he's so hungry and all that stuff. And I think I don't think Favreau does things by mistake. I guess I'll leave it at that. So I think there's stuff going on here, and I'm just curious to see where we end up with Baby Yoda after The Mandalorian. Do we see him as a fully grown of that species? Does he become the next Yoda? Like, if they do make more Rey stories that take place 40 or 50 years after The Mandalorian, where he would be around 100 years old, where Yoda was training Jedi. Did they do this on purpose? There's a lot of things going on here, story group and all that stuff. So I think that's a very clever question. And I do think you're right that there is something to that, because they can't have him be a baby forever. And I know we're not going to see him in 50 years in The Mandalorian, but we may see him in other stuff. So, I like that. Last one real quick, because we punted on it last week. So, Stephen A. Bowman. What's up, Stephen? How you doing, bud? If you could cosplay as anyone in Star Wars, who would it be and why? I'm going to say Cobb Vanth, because I got the gray hair. I think that'd be fun. What about you guys?
Lacey, who you got?
Or someone you haven't yet, because we know you have done cosplay.
Yeah, I've done Rey and I've done Leia. James, go ahead. Come back to me, because I have to think of someone I haven't done.
I don't know. It kind of sounds dumb, but like the way the Mandalorian looks right now with all of his like silver armor and stuff, I feel like if you could cosplay, that's like you get to. It's not like you have to. So I wouldn't have to put all that stuff together. Somebody just hands me all the necessary stuff. I think that his character looks like really awesome right now. I feel like they've done a really good job at, and you can look at, I know you just said Cobb Vanth, but like it's funny. You look at Cobb Vanth and you realize how bare Mandalorian outfits are. But then when you look at the Mandalorian right next to him, the way they've done every little piece of his thing, it all feels like one full like costume or suit of armor. It's really cool the way they've put him together.
Yeah.
So realistically, probably Rey, Rise of Skywalker. I've done Jakku Rey, and I'm not really crazy about the Last Jedi Rey costume. I was never a really big fan of that one, but I loved what they did with the Rise of Skywalker one with the hood and everything. But if we're talking like dream cosplay of like something that's like over the top ridiculous, like would be so cool, I'd probably pick the Amidala costume from Phantom Menace, the first one. That would be so cool to wear.
What if I said
Go
that?
for it. You could say whatever you want.
I know.
I'm surprised one of you
That's a
didn't
good
say
one.
like Kylo Ren or something, because that's just such a cool costume.
Yeah.
Like a helmet.
His is neat, but it's also it has a very like singular
just a
tone
helmet,
to it.
yeah.
It's like
Also, like,
it's just like that roby thing with like a belt,
I feel like
boots, gloves.
Kylo Ren cosplay is like that episode of The Office where all the guys show up as the Joker.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, well, there's another Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Clayton Sandell? I think it is.
Yeah,
You know?
no, I think
So,
the Amidala one from Phantom Menace is just like so iconic and cool that like it's just such an over the top costume that's so beautiful. It would be really fun,
that would
and the
be a cool
makeup
pick.
is cool too.
Yeah.
Somehow, if it was possible, K2SO.
That would be cool. You could wear the suit where he's wearing.
Oh yeah. There was a cool one of that at New York Comic
yeah,
Con
where
a
the
couple
guy
years
was
ago,
wearing
something
the suit. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't think I could never outdo Clayton on Kylo Ren. I think he slaughtered
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, he is Kylo Ren.
he's
You know what I mean?
officially Kylo Ren now. Yeah. Now that Driver's gone. All right.
Happy birthday, Adam.
Yeah. That's the end of the show. So we want to thank everyone for listening and watching. Make sure you do subscribe to all your favorite podcast apps or YouTube. We got the Mando Fan Show coming back tomorrow or Friday night, live, 8:30 East. We're having Yoshi Vu back on the show to talk about Chapter 13.
Mando Minute is James.
Is it going to be Ahsoka time?
I don't know. I'm hoping it is so I can get James' Mandalorian Minute of his reaction.
Little Dave Filoni directing.
Yeah.
Gotta like that. But yeah, we're gonna be live, so hopefully you can join us. We had a great turnout the past couple episodes live, and everyone's having a great time in the live chat. It's like a little party in there, so definitely join us live. But if not, don't worry, it will be on your podcast apps, and of course still on the channel thereafter. StarWarsNewsNet.com for all of your Star Wars news. Teespring.com/stores/resistance broadcast for all of your gear. And that's about it. So, on behalf of James, Lacey, I'm John. We'll see you on Thursday morning, where we're going to talk a little bit more about Star Wars, whether they can branch out or not, right here on the Resistance broadcast. See you around, kids.